DeWanna Bonner is an absolute legend. And this is one of the low things that I've seen in sports.
Dana Bonner is currently after a 5-game absence for personal reasons. Dana Bonner has officially left the Indy. And the fans who were extremely supportive during her inexplicable absence are not only disappointed, but also feel betrayed. It's not just that Dana was supposed to be the seasoned leader mentoring Caitlin Clark and helping the Fever make a serious championship push. It's not even about the hype surrounding her signing. It's about why she reportedly wanted to leave. And that's what's leaving fans with a terrible taste in their mouths during a season full of wild ups and downs. This is a blessing, as seen by recent events. Let's dissect it. But first, quickly, like this if you thought Dana was gone, and then click subscribe for more WNBA news.
With the team, she said at this point in her career, she's playing for championships, and obviously a championship experience with those veterans they brought in. How much does that get to add to the culture, or just what it takes to win at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, TV has been tremendous. Like, she's such a selfless leader. Like, she's here to win. She says that, but she really.
Dana Bonner was considered a cornerstone of a possible championship run during an off-season full of hope for the Fever. She had the pedigree of multiple All-Star selection championships and was still putting up good numbers at the age of 37. But her leadership was more important than her stature. Dana was brought in to address the team's lack of playoff experience and veteran presence after the Fever, led by Caitlin Clark, swept the Connecticut Sun in 2 games last season. At first, she seemed like the ideal fit, saying all the right things, adopting the team-first mentality, and playing the role of a dependable veteran.
That's just impressive. I think everybody's seen the second half of their season, and it was an unbelievable season. And I just felt like they had a dynamic core, and I just wanted to be another puzzle piece into what they had. And hopefully, I can give my knowledge, my leadership, and give it to these young players. So when I retire, they can pass it along. So I feel like they're young, but I also feel like they're a great young. They don't need too much coaching and too much leadership. They kind of figure it out themselves, and I'm just hoping that I can add to it and make basketball a little easier for them, and as well they can make it a little easier for me.
Like all the free agents added in the offseason, she appeared thrilled to be an independent player, thriving off the excitement of playing on a championship contender in the world's most competitive basketball market. Her fans instantly fell in love with her, bought her jerseys, showered her with support, and embraced her like never before in her career.
How does this kind of compare to what you are used to?
Oh man, yeah, totally different atmosphere. The support here has been just phenomenal. I really can't go anywhere. I've been here like a week and a half, and everywhere I go, it's just like, we're excited for the season. Thank you for being here. So it's been really, really refreshing.
You get that on the streets?
I'm sorry?
You get that on the streets?
Yeah, everywhere I go, it's just, can't even go to the grocery store without someone saying how excited they are. So it's just been really refreshing.
As you heard her say in the previous clip, Caitlin, who is only 23 and learning on the fly despite all of her achievements and poise, was truly thrilled to have her on the team because she saw Dana as a selfless leader who would stop at nothing to win a championship. Are you certain about that? While Dana got off to a strong start, climbing to 3rd on the all-time scoring list in the Fever's thumping of the sky, things quickly went south. She struggled right away, averaging just 7 points per game, which was less than half of the 15 she scored the previous season. Although this poor start was partially her fault, it also fit with what fans and analysts were already beginning to wonder. Did Stephanie White really have a plan to make this roster work? Did the front office bring in the right players to complement Caitlin Clark?
Don't know what Stephanie White's doing exactly. I don't have a clue. Again, I don't know what the identity of this team is. I really don't. It seems like they play a different way every game. One could say, well, that's her game plan. She's game planning for each team. How's that working out?
Fans naturally responded with concern, assuming it might be something serious or family-related. But as Dana continued to miss game after game without an explanation, an injury designation, or a clear timeline for return, their worry quickly turned into confusion. Whatever the reason for the slump, after just 9 games, Dana was abruptly removed from the lineup for personal reasons. It also happened that Caitlin Clark returned from injury against the Liberty the same game Stephanie White had missed time for personal reasons.
What are you doing? Is there any timeline for her return?
Yeah, she's doing well. She's doing well. Again, no timeline. I think it's day to day, and for us to just make sure that we're continuing to be supportive.
And then the rumors went into overdrive. Fans claimed that Dana had removed posts about her fever from her social media accounts. And there were rumors that the team store was not fulfilling her jersey orders or that her banner had been taken down from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Whether or not all of that is true, it hardly matters because the team's silence only fueled spot on speculation, and fans began doing what fans do, which is to look for clues that connect the dots and secretly prepare for the worst. As it happens, they were.
Full League insiders are reporting to Annie Costabile, of course Annie Costabile is breaking this news, of Front Office Sports that DeWanna Bonner has quote-unquote no interest in returning to the Indiana Fever. Instead, wanting to be in landing spots with either the Phoenix Mercury or the Atlanta Dream.
This wasn't just on.
Dana Bonner was essentially gone, so naturally, all eyes turned to head coach Stephanie White. With the news out there, we should have some clarity and transparency regarding the situation. But when she was questioned about it, she responded impolitely, was no longer just online rumors.
That DB doesn't intend to return to the team. Just what conversations have you had with her and with the front office about that?
I had a lot of conversations recently, really focused on the group that we have right here and what we need to do to position ourselves.
Additionally, Dana's agent remained silent, which, let's face it, said a lot. If the claims were untrue, it would be simple to shut them down with a brief denial, tweet, or statement. But the silence, which is more than simply a no comment, is essentially confirmation.
Is a comment. No explanation is an explanation. If we were trying to get back, we would have said, oh, we're trying to get back, we're trying to work some things out behind the scenes so both parties are satisfied moving forward. We don't even get that.
And recall how we all discussed Dana as that devoted veteran leader who only cared about winning a championship and doing whatever it took to contribute. Well, if these reports are true, that mentality vanished the moment she was benched. Apparently, she didn't like having a smaller role. And rather than coaching the young core or assisting Caitlin in overcoming the pressure of the early season, she checked out.
Sources told Front Office Sports that the fit in Indiana was off in the beginning. Bonner, who was signed to be an anchor to win with championship experience for the team's young core, was expected to be a starter. So basically, she stunk it up, got bent for Lexi, but it is what it is.
I'll explain why this might be a blessing in disguise in a moment. But for now, it hurts Fever fans a lot. They threw a lavish party and welcomed Dana as a leader, a culture setter, and someone who was meant to lead this young core to a championship. Fans didn't simply move on without her. They were genuinely worried about her well-being. Now that they know she might have left because she didn't enjoy coming off the bench, fans feel even more betrayed and blindsided.
We want to support her. Let's just give her some grace. And now we get some clarity on that situation. Now we get some understanding of that situation. And all of that grace can get thrown right out the window.
You have people fearing the word.
And then there's this Dana, who isn't particularly active on social media, but she decided that the time was right to post on Instagram for fun, not about the game or the team. During the Fever's game against the Storm shortly after the news broke, while she was still on the roster, still getting paid by the team, and still officially out for personal reasons.
During the game, at like 11 p.m. At like 11 p.m.
Again.
Once more, an Instagram post isn't a huge deal on its own. But when you don't post very often and then decide to post one late at night while your team is mid-game and fans have been wondering if you're okay, it just goes wrong. And whether that was the intention or not, it leaves fans with a bad taste in their mouths. Speaking of bad feelings, sources say that Indy's play was off from the beginning. She was averaging less than half her usual points per game, which suggests that this wasn't just a basketball issue. Chemistry wasn't there, and some have theorized that her partner Alyssa Thomas may have had an impact on her choice.
Thomas said about the Indiana Fever fan base last year, and all the things that she heard coming from this fan base last year, that's off. You guys remember what Alyssa Thomas said about the Angel Reese Chicago Sky sham investigation, right? Oh, if Angel says she heard it, then we believe that she heard it. That's off, right? Right.
Before I show you the light at the end of the tunnel, leave a comment if you believe Dana wanted it out for basketball-related reasons. Or leave a comment if you believe it was personal. The Fever now has to make important decisions. If they had known about this for some time and had kept it under wraps, you would think they would have started planning, but even then, it's difficult to move an expensive asset worth $200,000. That is underperforming, and everyone knows once out, there is no leverage or demand. So they had to act quickly for a few reasons. She isn't contributing, she is a distraction, and if they had waited too long, her salary would have been guaranteed. They had two options: trade her for peanuts or waiver to free up cap space. The latter seems wasteful, but at this point, it was addition by subtraction.
She couldn't handle it, I want out. She's not playing well, she's getting criticized, I want out. Her significant others call this fan base racist. On 2 occasions now, I want out.
And here's the truth.
Furthermore, the longer she remained on the roster, the more uncertainty would loom over the team like a storm cloud. The Fever brass apparently felt the same way, as they waved her off within 24 hours. But that only partially resolves the issue, because the void she left is larger than just her, and the Fever is set to lose another player.
Opens up a lot for the Indiana Fever, as well as them having to scramble for what they're going to do next, because as I'm sure many of you know, Demiris Dantas, who is she is part of the front court of the Indiana Fever. She will be gone from the team after tonight's game against the Seattle.
The Fever has made progress, but there is still much work to be done. The season is only 3/4 through, and the team is still in the middle of things. The hate speech investigation was unsuccessful, and although Caitlin's comeback against the Liberty felt like a turning point, she was knocked down again in the very next game against the Sun with no real repercussions other than a few upgraded fouls after the fact. And Sophie Cunningham's only real on-court retaliation? The constant attention must be weighing on Caitlin, and we must return it to her because this team and, to be honest, this league revolves around her. And she is still fighting.
You know, Caitlin Clark continues to struggle. One of the worst games of her career, if not the worst game of her career against the Storm. I don't even think she had like the playmaking prowess that she had in the first half against the Aces or the Valkyries. Still wound up with 9 assists, 8 turnovers though, 0 of 6 from...
She recently had another difficult game against the Storm. And from looking at X over the past week, I've observed that fans are beginning to realize that Caitlin appears depressed, as if the excitement has vanished.
The challenge for myself going forward is just, continue to pour into every other aspect of the game, and I can continue to have an impact in, all those other areas. I thought I got to the rim well. It's just, certainly it's tough shooting night, and, that's like a way to continue to shoot and remain confident in myself as I know I put the time in, but for me, I don't feel like it's anything that's off necessarily, but,
Of course, losing and playing.
Naturally, losing and performing poorly will make you feel bad at a press conference. But you have to wonder if Caitlin is beginning to feel the effects of the Dana situation, the Connecticut game, and everything else she's going through. After all, Caitlin looked up to Dana and was actually excited to play with her back in training camp. She even stated that she wanted to win a ring for her. Now, she's not only disappointed with how it ended, but also likely with the message it sends to the rest of the team.
She was brought in for leadership. And do you want to know all that these young players learned from her? If things don't go your way, refuse to show up. Continue to get paid a max contract while you are sitting out, refusing to play,
Now, I promised a silver lining, and here it is. Dana didn't want to be with the Fever to get to that point. There had to be friction behind the scenes. Something everyone in the room likely felt. So, as disappointing as it is, moving on lifts a cloud, and let's be honest, she was making $200,000 to put up 7 points a game and didn't look like her old self. That's a huge chunk of cap space tied to low production. Now that money can go toward players who better fit the system. Let's be real, they were never going to trade or waive her otherwise, just like we're seeing with Bree Turner. So in the end, this is a net positive. Then there's the pace issue. Fans and analysts have been saying it all season. The team plays too slow. Maybe now with that roster spot open, they bring in some younger legs, and that's why fans were pumped to learn that the team had quickly brought back AR McDonald. She injected much needed energy, so that's an instant upgrade, and they've still got the leadership between Natasha Howard and Sydney Colson. That box is still checked. There's still veteran presence and championship experience in the locker room, but there's still work left to do. The Fever have lost size, and it'll be interesting to see who they bring in, but whatever happens, it's better than hanging on to someone who doesn't want to be there. If you're still here, tell me by leaving a basketball in the comments section.